Protection of Information Assets, Part 3. I just watched Spider-Man 3 this week, and I was reminded of how good people sometimes go bad from the allure of power or fame or sudden wealth. I guess we all have that capability. And as an auditor, you'll observe employees in your organization, you'll observe people who come in contact with your company, and you look at them and you think, are they good Spidey or are they bad Spidey? Well, here's the rub. As a security auditor, they're all bad Spidey. Everyone is potentially Anakin Skywalker as far as you're concerned. Just one decision away from the dark side and becoming Darth Vader. So, be vigilant, young Jedi, and make your network secure and highly accountable. And even though you're not going to audit everything, you should audit everyone, including yourself. In Protection of Information Assets, Part 3, we're going to look at security of the network infrastructure in 4 major topics. We'll investigate LAN security, client-server security, wireless and mobile issues, and finally, internet security. And we've already talked about local area networks, and as an auditor, you have to audit and monitor and report on several areas of network control. You need to make sure that these areas have technically qualified operators and administrators. Functionality should be separated. Duties should be rotated if you can on a regular basis. By rotating duties, no one person will have too much power or autonomy or the ability to cover their tracks during an audit. Network control software needs to restrict operator access from doing certain types of things. For example, no amending or deleting operator activity logs and security logs. You need to have network control software, for example, like Cisco, that maintains audit trails of operator activities. These should be reviewed by managers or the CIO or the CPO or the CSO on a regular basis. You may even have an employee that's dedicated to monitoring and auditing logs. Along with audit trails and logs, we want to have ongoing documentation, analysis of those audits, those logs and documents, as well as reporting from that analysis. This information can also be stored in back-end databases like SQL from Microsoft or Oracle databases that can do data mining, where you can do elaborate and expansive data mining on the information to create powerful reports. This can be stored on an SAN or a storage area network. Another excellent information technology and security management model that you can use kind of as a guideline is the ITIL. The ITIL stands for Information Technology Infrastructure Library, and it's a customizable framework of industry best practices that have the goal of promoting high-quality computing services in the IT sector. IT area covers service support, service delivery, infrastructure management, application management, and security. You can find out more about ITIL by simply doing a Google search, and also you can check out CBT Nuggets ITIL Foundations Nugget series. Now, when you look at your auditing of LANs, remember there's a number of inherent risks that go with local area networking. We've addressed these already pretty well in the CISA series. But remember that local area networks are susceptible to loss of data, to diminishing program integrity by people making unauthorized changes. We want to analyze the risk of dial-up or dial-in connections. Remember worms and viruses and other malware. Improper disclosure of privacy information. We talked about that before as well. Don't forget violating software licenses or using unlicensed or too many software copies. That's an important thing as well. To be aware of impersonating or masquerading legitimate LAN users by malicious users, internal users using sniffing programs, spoofing network addresses, destroying logs or auditing data. All these things are things you need to be aware of. And again, what really helps us with this is to have some type of network security administration software, a full-blown solution. So as an auditor, you need to make sure that these companies have something in place, whether it be Cisco Works, Cisco Mars, products by HP, Computer Associates, Tivoli, the list goes on and on. There's many security vendors out there. The IS auditor must have a good understanding and be able to identify and document the LAN topology, the network design, It would really help an auditor to get a full understanding of the local area network, to identify and document the land topology and the network design, know who the land administrator or land administrators are. Is it a modular design with several different managers? What are the functions performed by the land administrators? What applications are used in the local area network? What are the procedures and standards that relate to the network design, support, naming conventions, the IP addressing scheme, network address translation, naming of objects, and data security? As an auditor, the best way to get your hands around the infrastructure and security of your network is to take a modular approach. And since we want to look at the ingress and egress points of our network first, we should start by looking at what we would call the wide area network module. And we would start out here, kind of at the perimeter, at this WAN module, where we're going to have these distribution layer, multi-layer switches that connect to the backbone of our network. And then we're going to have some ingress and egress traffic coming into this wide area network module. And we want to look at the different solutions that we're using here. Are we using dial-up solutions? Do we have users connecting and terminating VPN sessions, perhaps using point-to-point tunneling protocol? Are we using AAA services for authentication, authorization, and accounting? This is typically an extension of our corporate network, so we're going to be connecting to branch offices, remote offices, small office, home office solutions. So what you might see with some of these solutions nowadays is users that are connecting to this WAN module using technologies like cable or DSL, specifically ADSL. And so what are our connectivity and security needs here? From a modular standpoint, you'll also have what's called an internet module. This is where you're connecting to the either ISDN, to the plain old telephone service. You may have a backup connection to the internet for redundancy and your primary internet link to your ISP. And then maybe over here you've got what's called, we'll call this a DMZ, a demilitarized zone. And you're going to have your web servers, web server farm, perhaps FTP server, application servers, SMTP servers, servers that are servicing typically the internet, the outside internet, or dial-up connections, users outside of your organization. These could also be remote users as well. But you can notice what we have here is a firewall product. And we're going to talk about a firewall here in a little bit. But this firewall is very important. You'll have a firewall that's performing maybe intrusion detection systems, IDS or IPS as well. This could be a security appliance. And then you may have firewalls, as a matter of fact, at other locations. Now, you may have a firewall right here between your corporate backbone and all of your corporate servers, your back-end databases, your server farms. This is where you've got your web servers, your back-end Oracle, SQL databases, application servers. Over here, we've got what's called